This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Hello and welcome to Headlines Now on NDTV Hindu. I'm Ramanathan bringing you the big stories of the day. Joining me on the show is our reporter Lokpriya, who has a few updates on the NLC strike taga, which could be nearing a closure. Peer Mohammed also joining in for the updates on the PS Raman case not appearing for Santiago Martin in the lottery distribution case in Kerala. So before all that, the top stories of the day. PS Raman stays away from the Kerala High Court after a public outcry and Kerala government's letter to Karunanidhi against him appearing for lottery kingpin Santiago Martin. Authorities exhumed the body of whistleblower Murugan. Second post-mortem to find out if he was forcefully administered poison. The vice suspect in the ex-AIDMK Minister Venkatachalam murder case surrenders in Pudukkottai, taken into a 15-day judicial custody. 23-day-long strike by the contract employees at NLC nearing closure with the deadlock broken. Many return to factories, some continue the protest. Our taskmark out is increasingly becoming pounced for public nuisance, and is the government more interested in revenue? An NDTV special report. Leader reactor in Kalpakkam celebrates 25 years of excellent technology. India plays proud parent to one of a kind.
Running a nuclear reactor continuously for 25 years. We are the only country in the world which has such a reactor now.
Hold on to your purse strings. When you go to the closest movie hall, the state government is all set to regulate parking fees and monitor excess charging. Well, let's take a quick look at the stories making national headlines. The governor recommends President's role in Karnataka. His report to the centre also says the trust vote in the assembly was a farce. The law minister backs the governor, says he acted within his powers by sending an advisory. BCCI Secretary Srinivasan speaks to NDTV, denies sending an SMS to IPL owners asking them to fall in line or face the same as Punjab and Rajasthan. Sachin scores his 49th century, Murali Vijay scores his maiden ton, both power India to 435 at day's end. A top story tonight. After increasing pressure from the Kerala government and the public outcry there in that state, and in spite of the lawyers in Tamil Nadu backing him, the Tamil Nadu government's Advocate General PS Raman did not represent his client in his personal capacity and lottery distributor Santiago Martin in a lottery distribution dispute with the Kerala government. This after Congress leader Abhishek Manu Singhvi was asked not to brief the media anymore as the national spokesperson of the party as a punishment for appearing on behalf of mega lotteries owned by Santiago Martin. Kerala Chief Minister V.S. Achyutanandan had written to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi regarding this matter. The letter asked the DMK chief to advise the Advocate General against appearing for the private lottery agency. PS Raman appeared for mega lotteries at the Kerala High Court last week. This led to a public outcry in Kerala, with the Kerala cabinet passing a resolution against PS Raman. A public interest litigation was also filed against PS Raman in the Kerala High Court, where the Madras High Court Advocates Association backed Raman in a resolution passed last week. For more on that, we are now joined by our senior correspondent Peer Mohammed, who has been tracking this story. Peer Mohammed, it looks like PS Raman has given into the pressure of the Kerala government, which they have sent across through their letter to the Chief Minister Karunanidhi. Also, the fact that Abhishek Manu Singhvi was asked not to brief the media as a punishment for supporting Santiago Martin in this case.
Yes, Ram, particularly after the Kerala Chief Minister V.S. Achyutanandan wrote to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Karunanidhi, he is under so much pressure. Mr. Raman, when I spoke to him, he said no, he is waiting for the Chief Minister's reply to the Kerala Chief Minister. So he cannot take a decision at this point of time. And mostly because it has reached that level, it has become a communication between two state Chief Ministers, and he cannot take a decision independently and appear for his client at this point of time. And another thing is that a public interest litigation was filed in the Kerala High Court against him by a Congress party worker who is a well-known Congress party worker. And that case was also supposed to come in the Kerala High Court today. And because Raman did not appear for the Santiago Martin today in the Kerala High Court, the judges in the Kerala High Court did not take up the case against Raman today. Suppose he had appeared for Santiago Martin today, definitely the case, the PL against Raman would have been taken up by the Kerala High Court. That was the political situation in Kerala now, Ram.
All right, P, thank you for joining us on the show with the updates on that story. Moving on, was whistleblower Murugan, an ex-employee of the Food Corporation of India in Tuticorin, who was found dead under mysterious circumstances, forcefully administered poison. That's what a second post-mortem will find out. Murugan's body has been exhumed for the second post-mortem in Tuticorin district. It was believed to be a case of suicide by consuming poison, but his wife was not convinced and suspected foul play since the death. The Madras High Court had taken note of this and had ordered a second post-mortem. 4 days after the gruesome murder of former AIADMK Minister Venkatachalam at Vadakara village near Pudukkottai, the prime suspect in the case, Ganeshan, surrendered before a magistrate court in Madurai today. Ganeshan was remanded to 15-day judicial custody. The police have been on the lookout for him for the last few days. The former tourism minister of his state was murdered by an unidentified group of men outside his house last week, triggering violence in the area. The killing of the former minister created uneasy situation in Pudukkottai and Tanjavur districts. Public transport was badly hit in both the districts for the past 4 days after the supporters of the former minister resorted to violence, seeking action against the killers. No more than 3 weeks and finally, Neyveli Lignite Corporation is set to resume operations after 3 weeks of much chaos and unrest. The deadlock between 13,000 contract workers and the NLC management finally came to an end. Nearly 6,000 contract workers belonging to the DMK-backed union have returned to work, but over 7,000 workers from several other unions are continuing to strike. The strike by contract workers demanding parity in pay, regularization and a bonus had persisted as major unions in the state were unable to arrive at a negotiated settlement with the NLC management. Well, for more on that, we're now joined by reporter Lokpriya, who has the latest updates on that story. Lokpriya, with the deadlock at least broken, and it's been 3 weeks since this strike started, can we at least say now that the strike is nearing closure and the deadlock is near, that the problems are going to be solved?
Yes, Ram, probably you can say that, but what is imminent in this entire thing is that the NLC has been successful in coaxing the DMK-backed union to back out of the strike. So that comes as a huge success for the management. And but whereas this decision of the DMK-backed union to back out from the strike has come as a shot in the arm for other 7,000 members of the 7,000 employees. But sources are also telling us that not all the DMK-backed union members are going to work. Some of them have still not gone to work. And also sources are saying that right now a meeting is being convened by the AITUC trade union along with 7 other trade unions, and they are planning to intensify their strike, and a decision will be arrived in an hour's time. So you can say that the entire drama will come to an end, but one needs to wait and watch with the AITUC planning to intensify the strike, how exactly these things will turn out in the future, Ram.
Right, Lokpriya, thanks a lot for joining us with the updates. We have been waiting and watching for a long time now. Let's hope that at least over the next 1 hour, we will be able to find out and see that there is closure to this issue. Moving on, public display of drunkenness. That's the biggest cause of bottled up anger among residents of Chennai. Despite clear court guidelines, task-marked shops selling liquor have sprung up bang in the middle of residential areas, near schools and even places of worship. Under the influence of alcohol, men misbehave with passers-by, particularly young girls and women. The police, many residents allege, throw up their hands and don't take complaints from the public seriously. Our reporter Shabir Ahmed, who crisscrossed the city for an on-the-spot assessment of the menace, met furious residents who ask, is the government more concerned about the revenue than our space, peace and safety?
Puram, a peaceful upmarket residential area in South Chennai, marred by this eyesore. Across the city, these task-marked shops are more than just a public nuisance. They are also battlegrounds for petty rowdies.
Well, it's certainly not safe because as in when young girls are traveling or whatever past it, there are people who might misbehave or whatever.
பார் வசதி இல்லாததால என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா ரோட்லயே உட்கார்ந்துட்டு பெண்களுக்கும் போற வர பெண்களை கையை பிடிச்சி இருக்கிறதும் அவங்களுக்கு தரைக்குறைவா பேசுறதும் அவங்க மேல துப்புறதும் இது போன்ற பல செயல்களில் ஈடுபடுறாங்க.
I also drive my car, so when I have to cross that, there are people who have drunk and driven on, like they're just walking haphazardly. I'm not even sure whether, to take the car outside, forget walking on the road.
I am afraid, and when you're going with your family as well, it becomes really difficult for members to pass by. So I don't think they should run.
Not long ago, the Madras High Court told the authorities that liquor shops should not be set up at the cost of peace of local residents. Putting the onus on the government, the judges had said the authorities should be sensitive to such issues of public importance. If statutory authorities consider local issues with a sense of responsibility, there would be no occasion for the common man to approach the courts with public interest litigation. Just look at how widespread this menace is, and how the court's order is being followed only in the breach. If a Tasmac shop has come near a Pillayar temple in Arepuram, Triplicate High Road is no better, with an outlet near the Parthasarathi temple. There's one near a church in Roypeta close to the clock tower, near a mosque on Lloyd's Road, and in the vicinity of a school and a church opposite Woodlands Theatre. Now listen to what this cop has to say about taking action.
ஆமா அது வந்து கேஸ் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் எல்லாம் வந்திருக்கு சார். நாங்க ஃபாலோ பண்ணிட்டு அடிச்சு துரத்தி அடிச்சிட்டு தான் இருக்கிறோம். ஈவினிங் டைம் ஆனா குடிக்கிறவன் நாட்டுல ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிட்டே இருக்கிறான். என்ன செய்யறது?
Mercifully, Tasmac authorities promise action if instances of nuisance are brought to the notice of the managing direction. Which begs the question, isn't he aware that his shops are all over, where they shouldn't be? In Chennai, with Shabir Ahmed, Pratiksha for NDTV Hindu.
Clearly shocking story there. The government must certainly take up that issue. Time for a quick break on headlines now, but on the other side, the environment versus dump yard argument raises its head yet again. We will get you more on that on the other side.